morning. I am Hechan and Yeji Danika. Today our team will tell you about Indonesia's education. Before we start the presentation, we will introduce you about Indonesia. Indonesia is a Slovenian island country in Southeast Asia and Oceania. Indonesia is the largest island country in the world by the number of islands, with more than 14,000 islands. Indonesia is the world's fourth most populous country and the most populous Muslim majority country. Okay.
Hello, I'm Danika. Today I will tell you about the education history in Indonesia. In around 1890, Indonesian girls cannot go to school because there are a war back there by people from Dutch. So the guys from the Dutch, like the military, they are torturing the girls. They kind of like make the girls as a sexual object and stuff, so all the girls cannot go to school. But a girl named R.A. Kartini fights for all girls' right, so from that time girls can go to school. In around 1964, Indonesia's first president, Mr. Sukarno, declared that 21st April, it's Kartini's birthday. It's declared as Kartini Day, so it's like a day for all the girls in Indonesia. And then at around 1990 until 2000, people who are really poor cannot go to school because all people in Indonesia needs to give money to go to school. So at that time, Indonesian education rate is really low. But since 2003, there were a new rule about education in Indonesia. It's Indonesian Law Number 20, year 2003. All Indonesians have to go to school for 9 years. So since the new rules, the Indonesian government is providing education for all the Indonesian. Of course, the facilities is not that good, but at least all poor people in Indonesia can go to school. Now, Yeji will introduce you about the next presentation.
I'm going to explain about this table and the 2009 from 2009 to 2012. So as you can see, in the 2009 in primary school was 28.37 point, and 2010 to 28.94%. So to 2012 30.55%. As you can see, it goes up increasing, and then in the middle school case of the middle school from 2009 18.49% to 2012 60.89%, and the high school 21.76% to 16.92%. It means in the primary school they can get a scholarship from the government because they were changed the rule, so they can go to school as a free, don't need to pay the tuition. So it is increase, and the middle school also still changing. They can get they are same with the primary school, so they are increasing. But in this table, it goes down because at this time, girls or boys still young, so there is not a detailed rate. And in the case of the high school, this is very special because they can get the scholarship. It means they have to pay for the tuition if they want to take a class. So still increasing, decreasing, goes down. And now 2015, the education rate for primary school have a huge development. In 2012, the percentage was 30.55. I mean, primary school increasing, middle school a little bit down, but still increasing. But high school goes down. Still not same. So we will show some 3 videos. First one is education in Indonesia.
KPDA, singkatan dari penilaian kapasitas pemerintah daerah, adalah instrumen yang mengukur dan memberikan gambaran mengenai kinerja pemerintah daerah di bidang pendidikan.
Pendidikan itu amat penting untuk kemajuan bangsa, untuk daya saing bangsa, dan juga untuk memastikan Indonesia ini sebagai negara kesatuan tetap bertahan. Dengan otonomi dan desentralisasi, maka peran utama tentang pembangunan pendidikan itu terpundak di masing-masing pemerintah daerah. Laporan daripada penilaian kapasitas pemerintah daerah di dalam pendidikan amat penting, karena melalui penilaian ini kita tahu seberapa kokoh perencanaan dari kabupaten kota di pemerintah daerah tersebut, seberapa terlibat para pemangku kepentingan, seberapa transparan mereka di dalam perencanaan dan pelaksanaan, dan seberapa tinggi kebertanggungjawaban atau akuntabilitas dari pemerintah daerah di dalam memastikan bahwa rencana-rencana yang sudah disepakati itu bisa terlaksana dengan baik.
Penilaian KPDA adalah perangkat yang merangkai indeks tata kelola pendidikan pemerintah daerah dan memberikan peringkat terhadap 50 pemerintah daerah sesuai dengan kinerja mereka. Dari penilaian ini, didapatkan gambaran mengenai kinerja dan kapasitas sektor pendidikan pemerintah daerah dalam 5 bidang strategis: transparansi dan akuntabilitas, standarisasi layanan pendidikan, sistem pengendalian manajemen, sistem manajemen informasi, dan efisiensi penggunaan sumber daya. Jika ditarik garis penghubung, gabungan koordinat skor penilaian KPDA dalam 5 bidang strategis menghasilkan bentuk serupa jaring laba-laba. Jaring laba-laba itu memperlihatkan kekuatan dan kelemahan kinerja masing-masing pemerintah daerah.
Some of the interesting things about the LGCA is that it doesn't only provide a performance snapshot of local governments, but it shows exactly where the strengths and weaknesses are in terms of local education governance.
So this is a benchmark that the district use to measure themselves and see which area they can improve and which area of strength they can highlight. Because the objective is to help these districts to better manage the education sector in the future, particularly as they will be given much more responsibility in the very near future as mandated by the RPJM.
Dengan analogi lampu lalu lintas, hasil penilaian KPDA dikategorikan dalam kelompok hijau, kuning, merah. Semakin tinggi angkanya, semakin baik kinerja pemerintah daerah dalam bidang tersebut. Hasil KPDA dapat dimanfaatkan karena semua dinas bisa belajar dari pengalaman dinas lain di setiap bidang strategis. Praktik yang layak mendapat pujian di Kabupaten Bojonegoro misalnya adalah upaya pemerintah daerah dalam mempertahankan standar pelayanan pendidikan. Bojonegoro memastikan pendidikan minimal guru adalah S1 atau diploma 4 dan mempunyai sertifikat guru.
Tantangan kita adalah meningkatkan kualitas pendidikan di Bojonegoro. Untuk itu, maka langkah yang kita tempuh pertama adalah yaitu bagaimana pemerataan pendidikan yang berkeadilan. Itu berarti semua sekolah tidak boleh ada guru yang kurang. Itu prinsip pokok. Dan karena itu tidak ada lagi istilah kota dan desa dalam hal pendidikan. Semua punya hak yang sama. Yang kedua, orang-orang yang terbaik pun itu kita kirim di sekolah-sekolah yang tanda petik konotasinya adalah di desa dan di pinggiran. dulu selalu ada orientasi yang di kota itu yang lebih dibanding dengan yang desa. Nah itu nggak boleh. Kota silakan maju, tapi yang desa juga harus dikirim tenaga-tenaga terbaik. Bagaimana dengan meningkatkan akses pendidikan? Bagaimana dengan peningkatan guru sekarang, profesionalitas ini? Kita mengarahkan yang pertama adalah apa yang disebut dengan link and match.
Kami dikirim pelatihan selama 1 minggu, kemudian kembali ada jadi TOT sehingga lebih meningkat kemampuannya, mutunya. Ini berdampak pada anak-anak. Pertama, hasil atau prestasi dari sekolah kami SDN 1 ini tidak dilakukan lagi, apalagi setelah tahun 2007.
Penerapan
And then watching the second video.
Education. Education is the pillar of every modern society. Being able to read, write, and have the access to learning opportunities in today's world is a necessity, not a luxury that should be available to everyone. Our nation has the 4th largest education system in the world, yet in an education report of 50 nations, Indonesia ranked last. Despite successful economic development in recent years, it has failed to lift the livelihoods of children in Indonesia. Many still lack the access to adequate education and healthcare. An Al Jazeera program highlighted some shocking facts about Indonesia's education system. Only 1/3 of Indonesian students in a country where 57 million attend school complete elementary schooling. The fact that schools produce poorly educated students or that some students just quit school at the earliest opportunity is a problem the government expects society in general to shoulder. Education experts say less than 50% of the country's teachers have qualifications to teach properly. The Indonesian Corruption Watch also claims that there are few schools in Indonesia that are actually clean of graft, bribery, or embezzlement, with 40% of their budget taken away before it actually reaches the classroom. But that's only one part of the problem. In the national curriculum itself, approaches to learning take more emphasis on mere memorization. It gives too little room for creative expansion. The education system should be centered around analysis, essay writing, open communication, and group projects. Studies that would better prepare Indonesian students to compete in a rapidly globalizing world. Indonesians should fight for higher standards of secular teachings in schools, which includes better science and English education and IT infrastructure. If Indonesia wants to produce bright, high-achieving students, we need more qualified teachers who are actually motivated to produce a better Indonesia by perhaps increasing their salaries. We must invest in human resources to train, design, and deliver a solid education to every child. Good teachers and effective spending should form the cornerstone of our education system, which also means eradicating rampant corruption. The more kids we help put in school, the brighter Indonesia's future will be. The future success of our nation depends on today's youth and the education they access. Thus, we'll leave you with a quote by Malala Yousafzai. One child, one teacher, one pen, and one book can change the world. Education is the only solution. Education is first. Education is the backbone of our nation's future, and it is in our collective interest to ensure it does what it is meant to do.
And this is the last video one. It's pretty short. So we watched the total 3 videos, and as you can see, education is very important. Just to remember MDG's goal number 2, it is very important. So finally, as we can see here in Indonesia, as the new rules are out, government are giving free education for who are poor people. So this is very important. Thank you for listening our presentations.